Okay, the rear channel came out. You know, this one's obviously bent. I would try to repair that and use this or donate it to somebody that might use it. This one at the bottom is the tough one. This one is always a real pain. And what you can see is, like a lot of spots on these vans, the screw extends down below the fastener. So this part gets rusted. You try to back this out, it might move through the fastener, but then it hits this part that's all rusted out. So it's real important that you rock that thing back and forth. As a last resort, use heat. This one basically came out because it just wore through the hole in the bottom of the door. So we'll get that out later. So that's got to come out before the window does. Makes it a lot easier to pull the window out. So the vent window, we have to make sure that all of the weather stripping is out around here, and also these pieces. So they normally ride along the bottom, and the way I get those out is just run a screwdriver along the bottom and give it a click when I reach the fastener. So I get in between the door and this piece, and then when I hit this, give it a little span one way or the other, and it should pop out. My preferred tool for removing the weather strip is something like this. It works pretty good. You can stick it in there and then turn it sideways. You have to make sure that you don't catch some of these metal pieces that would catch the end of this. So you're only pulling on the weather strip to try to get that out. This weather strip that is in this back piece, normally I will grab that and then just pull it out, just slide it right on out. So it takes some doing sometimes, but that's usually the way to go. And typically I will do that before I loosen that top screw. So I can't stress enough how important it is, in my opinion, to take good care and not force this bottom screw for this division bar. It's just, or rear glass slide, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, save yourself a lot of trouble. And then there's 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws, oval head Phillips screws that hold in the vent window, along with 2 screws down here. And the trick on this is to have these out and the weather strip out. Open this window and then give this a little shove, and then it should dislodge. Now there's a piece on the bottom sometimes it also hangs up on this spring, which puts tension on the vent window. What I like to do is pull this out a little bit so that I can see the base of this, and then slide it out through an opening. There's a wide spot right in here. So you can pull it out this way or the other way, but the main thing is not to force this bottom piece, and sometimes it likes to get hung up through there. Now on these wing windows, or vent windows, whatever you want to call them, this piece is available, but it takes some doing to replace these the right way. There's rivets in here, boink, 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 and we'll have another video to cover that a little later. But for now, that vent window is out. Since I have so many and I have made a mistake before, I label these. It's the driver's side. Then I'll say first gen. The only difference I've noticed on the first gen versus second is sometimes they have a little bit different handle on these. So this is a good core. Still going to take some work. So let's see. This door is probably one of the worst that I have as far as a core, but it still has some decent parts in there. And what I'll probably use this door for is just the parts, the hinges, and also the bare sheet metal, as far as taking pieces and parts out of it. I probably won't donate or cut pieces out and mold it into or weld it into another door. But what I would do is I would clean this all up, take little sections, or try my welding technique on this, this metal. It's obviously period correct. It's great to get experience with your welding technique on a door or a piece that's essentially a throwaway. So that's what I like to do. It's one thing. So you see a lot of interesting things on these doors. One of the things is speaker holes. This one is mounted a little bit higher than most. A lot of them are down here. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult to cover up, but at least it does miss that plate that covers the window regulator. I'm getting the impression that this was not the first choice of where he wanted his speaker. I think he wanted his speaker up a little bit higher, but since there's like a window regulator in the way, I think he stopped about halfway through. He did manage to cut through a fair amount of the window regulator, and I don't know how much of that's going to be savable, but it's just kind of interesting to see that. Yeah. Let's mount those speakers a little lower, maybe. Huh? I wanted to show how I think this window glass should be positioned for removal, and more importantly for installation when you're reassembling this and you've got a nice paint job and, you know, fresh whiskers on all the corners or on the edges here. This is the position I believe works the best. It seems to come out the cleanest, and at least it's going to put any possible damage that you have to those whiskers at the far end of the run. So the window is positioned about 90 degrees from the normal position, and I'm bringing it down under or on the outside portion of the door. So that seems to be the ideal way. So there's your quick tip for that.